Hi guys, this is RL. This is going to be the tutorial for the Flip2 program. The first thing you'll probably want to do is load a game. Just hit the load game. And I've kind of went through this a little to set it up. But you'll notice inside of the Flip2 install folder, you'll see 4 subfolders, and you'll have your pick 3 games and pick 4 games. Just open it up and scroll down to your state. The way these are named is it has the 2-letter state abbreviation code, and then a 3 if it's a pick 3, and then 4 if it's pick 4. Here I've got my Missouri pick 3. I'll go ahead and load that. As soon as you do that, you're actually ready to play, but right now I'm going to skip past that. To update your database, just click the update button, and the first thing you need to do here is set the date, which it's laid out in the month, day, and year format. The date that shows will be the date of the last game that you updated in your database. You can click on any of these numbers here to set the date. Most of the time you'll just have to increase the day by 1. Once you've done that, just enter in your 3 numbers and hit save. If you want to just exit without saving, hit the exit button. Okay, the Q stats, what that does is, if you'll notice here, every time I adjust the flip value, it highlights these. You'll see several vertical bars here, and what this does is this is just highlighting all the games that had a flip value of 3. If I change it here to 2, then you can see all of them that are 2, 1, etc. Now anytime you have either the string 1 flip value set or the string 2 flip value set, you can hit the quick stats, and what this does is it'll tell you your string 1 flips at 3. The total shows is 986 of 3009 games. I guess that's how many I've got in my database, and its average is 1 in 3. And here you can see a kind of a little graph that shows you where it's all the games where it's hit a 3 at. And then down here you can see in the for the last game that hit a 3, you can see it was that position 1, 2, and position 5 were the 3 that hit. And if we come back here and look at this, we can see a 1, 2, and a 5. If we go to the second game, we can see it was also a 1, 2, and a 5. And then the third game would have been a 1, 2, and a 4. But anyway, this just kind of, what this shows you is just a compressed kind of data set for the games here. It'll skip the games in between that didn't have anything, because basically what we're just looking for is what hit, which of the positions flipped when you play a flip of 3. Now if you set both values and hit the quick sets, then you can see it reports for both of those, but it's where any 2 of them line up. If you notice here, 1, 2, 3, 4 games back, 1, 2, 3, 4, we had a flip of this is called a pair flip of 3 on the string 1, 3 on string 2, and they're directly over each other 4 games ago. And it excuse me, then this data is recorded. It'll skip any of them. The only ones it'll show is where they actually lined up, so you can see how many times it hit and its average and everything. But you can, anytime you've got either one of these set, if you try to click it whenever there's no value set for the string 1 or string 2, then it won't do anything. The run button, this is what you press to generate your sets. It's got 2 functions. It's got a left click for live play and a right click for a single game back test. I'll illustrate that in a little bit. The view button, it also has two functions. You can left click it to view any lines that are in your draw file, or you can right click it to see your database. Okay, the erase button will erase any sets that are in the draw file. The reset button will just clear all the user variables that you've got set. The help button will open up another little program that I wrote. It's basically just an image viewer, and it contains the instructions, kind of what I'm doing with this video. You can just scroll through them, and it just kind of goes over each step, you know, what to do. And I'll probably add more images to this, but I've got enough in here that, you know, it'll you know, get you up and running and everything. Now, one thing while I'm on this image right here, you can see in the let me actually open this up. In the main install directory, which will be on, should install to your C drive to flip to, you'll see there's 4 directories in here: your P3 game, P4 games. The help directory here, this is where all the images that are used by the kind of the slideshow program, or, you know, that we're looking at in the background here now. But there's also a captures directory. Now I'll go over that real quick here. Now, anytime you're on the main program, let me just set a couple values here, and a couple, I'm just putting in random stuff here just to illustrate something. Anytime you build a setup, you can save an image of this, you know, for later use or to post at LP. All you need to do is just press C on the keyboard, and immediately it'll create an image of that. I'll go ahead and open that up in Windows Photo Viewer, and you can see there's a picture that I just took. It automatically names them. They'll be in numeric order. It'll go 001. If I take another picture, let me press C again. Now you can see there's 2. It's the same exact image, but anyway, you can delete these anytime you want. But it'll just keep building, you know, the images, and it'll place them all in that file. But that's pretty much all there is. You can, you know, do the previous picture. You can, you know, scroll through these. Basically, all this program is just a help file viewer. But I've tried to do everything in pictures to make it a little bit easier. You can see over here, if you want to refer to an image in the help file, just click right here. It'll give you the image number. We're on 11. I can actually put up to 999 pictures in that file. But okay, and then the exit button exits the program. So now what I'm going to do is just do a basic you know, setup or kind of show you. Let me just reset everything. Now what I'm going to do is an after the fact run. We can see here these little square boxes, and you've actually got 3 options here. You can left or right click on them and scroll through the 3 colors. We've got blue equals wild. The green one is the digit has to repeat, and a red means that it flips. Now everywhere you see an asterisk here means that the digit flipped. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it up to, you know, hit this last game. And then I'll just set these 2 green because they repeated. A dash means it repeats, an asterisk means that it flipped. I'll do the same thing here, just so you get an idea of what's going on. Okay, we had a flip of 2 here and a flip of 3 up there. You don't have to set these 2 values here, but I'll do an illustration that shows you where it is beneficial to do that. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click the run button. You can see it generated one set. We can view that. It produced an 875, and then I'm going to right click on this to open up my database, and then you can see the 875 was the line that we were actually playing for. Now it's going to be rare that you'll be able to hit all these different values, so let's say that we you know, we just got a couple of them that we're pretty sure of, and let's say that we set 3 of them wild and just set 2 here, and maybe let's set a couple of these wild. Okay, now let's erase our one set. Now I'm going to right click again, and you can see that that gave us 64 lines. We scroll down through here, we should find our 8, I believe it was what, 857, or well, let me just view, 875. So if we scroll down here, we can see there's our winning line, and 64 lines, which that's too many for people to play. But realize that I only set 2. I set one value to flip, one to repeat, and then the same here, one to repeat and one to flip. Now let's say that you analyze the data here and say that you thought a flip of 2 was going to hit in the next draw. You can set one or both. You can set them in any order. I'll erase those, and then I'll run this again, and just by setting this 2 here, knocked it down to 24 lines. Look through this again, there's our 875. Now, if we were brave and decided to set, this one here, actually 2 and 3 are the 2 best values. You can see that in the quick sets. You can see that the average is 1 in 10 for the 2 of them to hit together. But I'll go ahead and erase those 24, and I'll right click and run this again. Down to 9 sets, we can view those and see our 875 is still in the lines to play. Now one thing, the quick stats is actually what this is for, is just to kind of give you an idea. You can analyze this and see, it's kind of hard to determine when an actual pair like that is going to hit. I haven't used the program enough to really give you any good tips on how to set those 2, but I'm sure we play it for a while, because 2 and 3 are the 2 largest hitting values. But notice here, when I'm going to zero this one out, so that just gives me the stats for the top one. Now one thing I didn't mention here, we've got P1 through P5. That indicates these 5 values here. On the top we have string 1 and string 2, but this list here will populate. But you can see here this hit 986 times out of 3,009 games. Its average is 1 in 3. Now if I'm going to close this, and I'm going to set this to 2, hit the quick stats again, and we can see that this time it was 909 out of 3,009 games, but you add these together, they total up over 1,800, almost 1,900 games out of 3,000. So it's not a bad when you think of it in those terms, and the both strings are the same. And what I'm doing here is I'm just moving the mouse over and then left to right click and to change this value. Now I'll open up the quick stats again, and you can see here we've got 988 for a 2 or 3, and then we've got 908. It's almost identical, top and bottom, versus playing 2 or 3. Excuse me, I kind of got the hiccups. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and load my, it's easy to get down, to fewer than 10 games. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a P4. This is what kind of, got me going. Now again, the database names, the first 2 digits are your state's abbreviation. Then it'll either be a 4 for pick 4 or a 3 for pick 3. Now notice the in pick 4 it takes 7 rows, and again, you know, you can kind of click through and you'll see that 2, 3, and 2 and 3 are still actually the best, I believe, even with the pick 4. We've got 863 total hits. Here we've got 617, but you know, they're a little bit lower, but they are still the best. And you can kind of scroll through these and, you know, see if you look at this, you know, they don't hit a lot of times. Let me go back to the quick set. See, we dropped down to 115 times where it was actually a 2-2, you know, or a 3-3. You know, I mean, they do hit, but it's not as often as what, you know, you might think it would be. Again, you can see the you know, the actual values. If you study these values here, they can kind of give you a little bit of a help as to, you know, which value should show in the next draw, whether they should be flip or repeat, or if you should run them wild. But I'm going to do another setup here, and this time I'm going to, you know, maybe set a couple more. Let's see, we set that one to flip and this one to flip. Run this one wild. Wild. I'm just kind of, you know, I'm doing after the fact setups here, but I just wanted to illustrate, you know, with the okay, we had a flip of 4 here. We had the you know, what would this be, 4, 5, 6, and 7 positions were all flip, and these were, I've only left 2 of these wild. This one up here was a flip of 4. Also, okay, there's an instance where we had a double 4 hit, a flip 4 on top and a flip 4 on bottom. But anyway, what I'm going to do is you know, run this like this. I'll erase the 9 sets. And one thing that you can do when you flip from pick 3 to pick 4, you can actually just, you know, go ahead, add the pick 4 lines to the pick 3 lines. I mean, they'll both show up in the database, so you don't, you know, you know, if I wouldn't erase this, it would have had my 9 pick 3 sets and then just added the pick 4 sets to the bottom. Let's open up the database. We can see that we were trying to draw the 1573. Look right here, 1573. Now, to me, I know, you know, setting these like this might be a little bit hard, but for the amount of lines that it's given, you know, even, you know, in pick 4, you know, I realize I've set, you know, 5 of the 7 digits here, and then I've said 4 of the 7 digits on top. This gave me 16 lines. 1573, I believe that was our pick 4 straight. You can, you know, you might set these to some other values than what, you know, you've got. I'll erase those and run again. And you can still pick up maybe some box hits. I don't know how common they'll be with the pick 4 program, but the you know, the pick 3, I'm sure it'll produce a lot of box hits here. Let me see, 7, we got 7, 3, 3 and 5, 1, 3 and 7. There was a 3, you know, correct digits in that, even though I had this set, you know, to a value that didn't hit. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for this tutorial. It's pretty easy to use. I've been over it and over and over it. I think I've got all the bugs worked out. You know, if I run, I'm just going to run a big run here with nothing filled in, and you'll see that it'll generate the 10K sets for pick 4. If I was to do that with pick 3, it'd generate 1,000. So it's basically, you're starting with the entire, you know, matrix, and then you just work your way down to your play level. That's going to do it for this video. I'm going to try to include this video in with the install package so it can stay with the program. But anyway, I'll talk with y'all later.